If you're someone who does equity research, you've probably used AI to help you understand a business or a thesis before you invest. And maybe you just rely on AI's web search or a basic prompt to understand a company. Or you could be someone who's a little bit more sophisticated. You chain prompts together for better results, or you lean on financial data aggregators to pull the numbers quickly. But the moment you need the actual filing, the risk factors, the footnotes, the real language, what actually breaks or makes a thesis beyond just the 3 financial statements, your AI has to go read it on SEC EDGAR. And that's where the problems start. So on the screen, I've listed just a handful of the different problems I've come across when asking AI to read EDGAR. To start off, it's slow. It has to search for the filing and load it before you can even answer. Then it reads whatever search turns up, which isn't always the official filing. I've had it pull numbers off a company's news page instead of the 10K, and on a long filing, it only gets to part of it before giving up. Smarter models and more context helps the AI, but that only costs you more tokens. If you want the actual text from a specific section in a filing, it won't always give you the full thing. It just sends you back to EDGAR to read it yourself, and then you have to scan through all of the legal speak and the ugly formatting to find what actually matters to you. And it won't tell you what matters unless you give it very specific guidance. Otherwise, it'll just spit out whatever it was trained on. Even if you give it specific guidance, it may not have full context of the filing and how different items relate to each other. And the more you rely on asking AI to read EDGAR, the more you realize that it struggles the second you ask for anything harder, like comparing 2 filings or merging tables. And if you're pulling a lot of them, then EDGAR may even start throttling your usage. So it's not that your AI cannot read EDGAR. It definitely can, but EDGAR is just a database where publicly traded companies are required to file their financial reports. And the point is that it's just a filing system. It was never designed to be AI native in the first place. So here's what I use instead. It's called SECSift, and it's a tool I built that turns SEC filings into clean, readable documents without changing a single word from EDGAR. You can then search any single word, export anything, merge tables, let AI highlight what matters and gray out the rest, and compare against previous filings. I no longer use EDGAR. I just use SECSift, and I've been using EDGAR for over a decade for my own equity research. I made a full video walking through the entire tool, so I'll link that in the description. Now, remember all of the problems I talked about with asking AI to read EDGAR? Instead of asking your AI chat to use EDGAR, you can instead just point it at SECSift's MCP server, which is fully integrated with the SECSift EDGAR reading tool. And unlike other MCP providers that offer stock and financial data, I do not standardize or change a single thing from the original filings. I just offer a better user experience, which saves you a ton of time once you get familiar with using the tool, and you can trust the data completely because nothing is changed. So let me show you how you can get started, and getting started should at most take you a minute. So the first thing you need to do is go to SECSift.com. I'll link it in the description. Click on the sign in. If you have an account, then you can sign in. If you don't have an account, then you can sign in for free. Signing up will also give you 100 free credits, which is useful if you want to try any of the AI analysis features, which I'll get into later. There's no credit card required, but you need an account so that I can connect the MCP tool to your account. Getting started with the SECSift MCP connector is very simple. First, I'll show you how to get started on Claude. So on Claude, just go to settings and then connectors. Click on add and add custom connector. Type in a name. So I'll just do SECSift, and then for the remote MCP server URL, you just go to this page, which I have in the description, copy the link, paste it, and then click add. It'll ask you to connect if you haven't already connected. It'll open up a page and you'll click authorize, and then you'll go back to this page here. Then here you can see all the read access tools and the other tools. You can change those to always allowed or need approval. I just do always allowed so that you're disrupted less in your workflow, and then you're connected. If you're using ChatGPT, the process is similar. You go to the settings, click on plugins under the integrations, and then you would add an MCP server. It would just be the same name, SECSift. It's a streamable HTTP, and then the URL is still the same. That's all you have to do there, and then click save. Go to the MCPs tab, and then click on authenticate. It'll open up a browser, and it'll ask you to authenticate. click allow, and then you should be connected. If you're using an application that doesn't support OAuth like Claude and ChatGPT does, then you may need to use an API key. For Cursor, you would copy this and then fill in your key here with the API key. To get that API key, just go to SECSift, type in any company, and then click on this menu item down here and click on API keys. You would just create a key, copy it, and then paste that wherever is necessary for the app to recognize and connect to the SECSift MCP server. Now let's do some examples. On this tool reference page, it walks through the different tools that you can request in the chats, and it details how exactly you can use each, as well as what is free and what is paid. And even if you're on a free plan, I give you 100 credits to start. But to get started, let's just start on a simple request. So I'm using Claude. Just make sure that SECSift is enabled in the connectors, and then you can start just chatting to it. Here I'm asking it to find NVIDIA and then show me what's in the latest 10Q. So as you can see, it's working through SECSift. I'm using Opus 4.8 High, not the smartest model, but it is a pretty solid model. And as you can see, it tells you exactly what is in the 10Q, and it details the word count, the blocks, the data tables, and the image count. Now I'm asking SECSift about the 10Q and the dataset revenue, and I specifically want it to be linked and quoted. So it quotes it, as you can see here, and then provides the answer we're looking for. It also links to the section exactly on SECSift. Once you open that up, it directs you directly to item 2. You can also ask it to link to exact passages as well, and it'll highlight those sections once you open them up. Now let's do another example. Let's pull Tesla's management discussion and analysis section without the routine boilerplate. So this is a SECSift feature, and it uses AI to identify parts of a filing that are considered to be legal or boilerplate text, meaning stuff that you should not really have to read to understand a business. And most 10Ks and 10Qs and other filings that a company reports are full of legal speak. And if you're doing a lot of research and reading, then you don't want to waste your time filtering through all of that. So now what the chat is doing is it is stripping that out for you and then pulling the MD&A without all of that boilerplate text. So here is the output, and you can pull the rest if you want. Another thing you can do on SECSift is you can run comparisons. So in this case, I'm just going to compare the latest 10Q to the quarter before it. And then I have a general prompt that just says, tell me what changed. So here you can see it flagged 14 new passages, 127 changed, and 29 removed. It gives you all of the detail, and with more specific prompts, this can be a lot better in terms of the output. Now what I'm doing is I'm running Sift, which is the AI analysis feature that's integrated into SECSift. So I'm running it on Apple's latest 10K, and I want it to only give me the concerns it flags with links to those concerns so that I can read it on the reader itself. So here is where the output is. It'll identify that there are 12 concern level flags. According to the Sift AI analysis, it groups them by section in this case, and for each of these risks, you can look into the surrounding context and understand them better by just asking the chat, or if you want to just read it yourself, you can click on any one of these and it'll open up the filing and the exact location where the information was taken from. So that one is opening up a table. This one is opening and showing an exact passage. Here's another one on the Google antitrust remedies. You can also ask it to show the positives as well, which is what I'll do now. And it shows that there are 5 main positive flags on Apple's 10K. Now let me show you another feature, which is the ability to pull tables, and not just pull tables, but also be able to merge them across multiple filings. So in this case, I'm going to do that for Tesla's income statement for its last 3 10Qs. And then line them up. In other words, merge them. And then here it merges the table, and it also gives some additional clarity on the caveats when you're reading this table. You can also ask it to export this as a CSV afterwards or have it as a downloadable file. Now there's a bit more that I didn't show. You can pull any section in full, grab one specific table, or you can ask the whole filing a question and get an answer grounded in the entire filing. You can also go outside of just the 10Ks and the 10Qs and ask it about Form 4 filings, which is for insider trading. So you can ask it to read these Form 4 filings for you and analyze it. And that is basically the entire SECSift MCP in a very short overview.